I think I've shown you where the workers, they fall asleep on the floor, they get a bit of cardboard. It's still very hot. It's hard to sleep, but I sometimes come up here and I lay down there and I pretend there's a breeze. I pretend there's also nice crew. I incidentally, I had chosen 2 crew. I was going to announce it, but one of them fell through. So we've got 1 crew on. The crew that I'm after are people that are able to come and help me before we leave. I sent an email out to all the other crew and they didn't get back to me, so no one can actually donate any time. A lot of people want to come and crew and go on the boat sailing, but not too many want to help. Remember, I've got 6 lots of gear waiting on the borders, or waiting in the countries of the sponsored company, waiting to come in because of this customs issue. As soon as I get them in, I'm going to have to, it's going to be a lot of work. I'm a little bit sad, people, but my right-hand man, project manager, and if he wasn't here, I'd be completely stuffed, he's on holidays. He's having fun. He's in a big, I don't know, Winnebago type thing with his family going touring Europe. Now, up until this time, he's been doing 60 hours a week, and sometimes we're on the phone 3-4 times a day. So I hope you're having a good time, Bart. Thank you for all your effort. Don't worry, I'll hold the fort. Actually, he's probably going to call a lot now. Hopefully, he'll send us some videos of the places he's seen. Anyway, I thought, I don't know Bart, as we all know who Bart is, but I'm putting him, Bart, on the column of heroes. Hallelujah. For all the effort he's put into it. He should have a whole column himself. And I'm also putting Sandy Romy, Nathan Hale, Martin Van Zyl, Albert Funk, Braith Miller, who else? I snuck a few in, JP Jean, David Beaumont, Ian Claxton, Peter Lavanda, Peter Segrist, and I've got to put on Sashi Ono.
And Graham Henderson.
I mean, a lot of these people have already given in the Kickstarter, and some of them are already on the column of heroes, but I thought I'd just throw them up on the wall anyway. So all of these guys are in the engineers group, the riggers group, the IT group, the electrical group. We've also got an internal decorating group. Although there's not much work going on there at the moment because, well, we've yet to start it or even think about it. And quite frankly, I like the aluminium look. But anyway, without these guys, literally they give their time up and give all these words of wisdom, and they're organising themselves and like especially the IT group. My God, they're doing unbelievable work. I wish I could understand it to explain it to you, but I can't. But the systems on this boat are going to be unbelievable. I hope I'm going to use them. I probably have to have one of these guys permanently living on the boat just to help me out. But anyway, thank you guys. I literally couldn't do it without you, and in fact, half the boat project would have fallen apart. So top stuff. And Bart, if you want to come home early, I won't be upset. No, I'm just kidding. Bart's probably a bit worried because he knows there's a lot on. Good on you, Bart. Enjoy your holiday. Ignore the thing about coming home. Enjoy yourself. But he's still sending me a message anyway, so it's not much of a holiday, I guess, so he's still looking after me. So top stuff.
Now, who else is to be drawn on the boat? We have Mark Sutherland, Nicholas McCauley, Charles Cornman, Mitch and Becky Graham, Scott Tromp for the 4th time, Rick Jarrett for the 2nd time, Ian Daniel and Mitchell Davis.
A little sweat, people. It's like 40 degrees now. No wind. Unbelievable. And I'm not doing any work, I'm just sitting on my bum. From last week, we all know that woke AI will not talk to me on sailing into freedom. However, I got around it by asking the AIs to have a discussion amongst themselves. So we've got conservative AI trying to teach common sense to woke AI.
Jack, this is getting out of hand. We need 50% female welders on this project. We are also short on Tibetan lesbians, transgender dwarves, Inuit vegetarians, and Buddhist meat-eaters. We need more diversity on this team.
Linda, I'm getting tired of this argument. I don't care if they're male, female, Tibetan, or from the moon. We need the best welders, period. This catamaran has to be tough enough to sail Elcano World Challenge, not just to look good on a diversity report.
And you think the best people can only be found in one group? There are qualified female Tibetan lesbian welders out there, and by ignoring them, you're not only missing out on talent, but also sending a terrible message. Representation matters.
What matters is that this catamaran doesn't fall apart in the middle of the Pacific. We need strength, precision, and experience. If the best welder happens to be a woman from Tibet, great, but I'm not going to fill quotas just to make a point. This is about survival, not politics.
What about the survival of the idea that everyone deserves a fair shot? The quality of work from transgender dwarves is amazing, Jack. We could have a stronger team if you just opened your eyes.
My eyes are wide open, Linda, but when we're out at sea, and the only thing between us and disaster is this boat, you'll thank me for hiring the most skilled welders, not just the most diverse ones.
And what happens when you've built the strongest catamaran but lost the respect of half your team in the process? Morale matters too, Jack.
I am glad I have boots on, because it is getting pretty deep around here. Sometimes I think you actually believe the nonsense coming out of your mouth, and not just justifying and guaranteeing your own position of frivolousness.
My boat's so empty compared to that boat. Don't be alarmed, people. I've said it before. We need time. Yes, we need more time. Can you hear that noise? I just rode back through a massive squall. I don't want to alarm anyone out there, but I think there's a little bit of a drizzle. Just a little bit of a... Okay, but a little bit of some wind too. Just a tad. Welcome to Vietnam. This is quite topical. There was I spoke with my patrons on another video about the Formentera storm. I was in the Cayman Island and with Margarita, and we were anchored just off the Cayman Island Yacht Club. And we knew there was a storm coming through, probably 35, 40 knots, but it's going to be short and sweet. Well, short and not so sweet. Now, I left the boat where it was because it was convenient, mistake number one. And it wasn't the greatest place to actually anchor because there was weed and mud. Now, you sort of hope for the, and you couldn't see the bottom. It was dirty. And you sort of hope for the best. A lot of people anchored there, so the weeds all chewed up, so hopefully you're going to get in mud. Anyway, I set the anchor, and it was predominant wind. The squall was coming from that direction, so it was from like the northeast. And I reversed back on it, and it looked good, you know, and I thought, oh, that's good enough. Now, sure enough, first of all, I want to talk to you about wind strength and the power of the wind. A lot of people don't understand that. Let's say we're at 20 knots, and you've got some power from the wind, and you've got your windage of the boat, for example. Well, at 20 knots, there's going to be a certain amount of load on your anchor. Now, if you double that speed, what's the power of the wind now? A lot of people think it's just double. It's not. It's double cubed. So it's 8 times the power. And so you've got a hell of a lot more force on your anchor. So people got to get that out of their head. It's not linear. So I remember the storm came through, and yeah, it might have been, I mean, I don't know, I didn't have any instruments on, but you know, you feel it, and it's hard to tell. I don't know, it was strong, but you know, I popped my head up and I looked around and waited for, I don't know, a couple of minutes, and we were good. All right, go back to sleep. Well, mistake. Should have stayed up for the duration. I can't remember. I actually fell asleep. Must have done some hiking or something that day. Or, oh no, I was probably doing some of the, do you remember the beer ad commercials? And holding my breath for a lot of times. Possibly. Anyway, in the morning I got up, usually just before sunrise, so it's just getting light, and I get out, don't disturb Margarita. Look out the window, go, what, there's a building right there. And I went outside. We were literally this far from a house from their wharf. We'd actually drifted all of this way and we'd missed boats along the way. Now, I can't remember how many boats there were in front in the little wharves in front of us, but there was at least 2, and there was one right behind us, and we had stopped there. So how lucky is that? So made plenty of mistakes, but just pure dumb luck that I didn't damage any other boats and we didn't damage our boat. And I remember when I pulled up the anchor and I was embarrassed. It's like, that's embarrassing. And literally the keel was in the mud. I was really gunning it just to push through to get out. So it might have been falling tide that we, you know, got stuck. So that's a bit of luck. So beware of that. If the wind strength goes up by even a little bit, you're going to double the power of the wind, and it's going to, you know, you're going to have to think about that. Now, I did, the strange thing about this situation was I did do a video with my very good friend Stuart.
I had heard a bad story about my Rockner and I wanted to test it out. Basically, if I set it in the grass one way and then pulled the anchor from the opposite direction, I had heard it might fail. Now, I love my Rockner, so I wanted to see if this was true. So we set it, and then Stuart pulled it from the other direction. Look at how simply it lifts the anchor from the grass, carrying a plug of grass, mud and sand along with it. And notice how there looks to be very little to no chance of it resetting itself. Very surprising.
Well, in this case, it actually was in the direction. So we didn't actually pull the anchor from the other direction, which would remove the anchor with the plug. It was in the same direction. So there comes a time that even when you set the anchor well and it's in weed, please be aware that it can still remove that plug in that direction, and then it slides along and it's useless. So, lesson to be learned. What should I have done? I knew the storm was coming. It was forecasted. There's a large bay down there.
There was plenty of room, so if something went wrong, I would have had more time to fix it or more empty space to drift into. In the end, I reckon I drifted about 250 metres, and in such a narrow channel at the end, I was lucky to not hit anything.
I'm still calling for crew, people. If you want to look at the criteria, go to episode 20. It's all there, but basically, this is what I'm looking for.
And make sure you accompany your video with the following information in bullet point form. No flowery language or prose. Please, no Shakespeare. I do not have the time.